The war didn't begin with an explosion. It began with a warning on a radar screen, thousands of meters above the ground. Where borders are invisible and politics fade into clouds, the fighter jets accelerated toward each other. No shouting, no negotiations, just speed, steel, and seconds to decide who lives for decades. Nations have prepared for wars on land and sea, but the most dangerous battles happen in silence, in the sky dotted Mach speed. Pilots don't see enemy soldiers. They see signals, blips, heat signatures. A single dot on a screen that represents another human being making the same calculations. At the same time, this is not chaos. This is controlled violence. As the jets close in, both pilots know the rules. Whoever reacts first survives. Whoever hesitates disappears. Missiles are armed, radars locked. Warning alarms scream inside the cockpit. The aircraft shakes under extreme G-forces. Blood rushes away from the brain. Vision narrows. Breathing becomes a fight of its own. Yet the pilot must remain calm, because fear at 30,000 feet is deadly. One wrong move, delayed a turn, delayed a flare, and the sky becomes a graveyard. There are no medics, no second chances, only fire and falling metal. Behind each pilot is a lifetime of training, thousands of hours in simulators, hundreds of flights in peaceful skies, endless drills that prepare them for this exact moment. They've memorized every button, every switch, every contingency procedure. Their instructor screamed at them, pushed them beyond limits, forced them to make decisions when exhausted, when disoriented, when everything inside them wanted to quit. Now all of that training converges into a single moment. The radar warning receiver blares. The enemy has achieved lock. The pilot's heart rate spikes, but their hands remain steady. Years of conditioning take over. Muscle memory replaces conscious thought. They execute a defensive maneuver, a brake turn that forces nearly 9 times their body weight against them. The G-suit inflates, squeezing their legs and abdomen, fighting to keep blood in their brain. They grunt with controlled aggression, forcing oxygen into their lungs against the crushing pressure. The world outside the canopy becomes a blur of blue and brown as Earth and sky trade places. Inside the cockpit, it's a symphony of warnings, beeps, tones, synthesized voices announcing threats in emotionless cadence. Missile launch, missile launch. The pilot doesn't panic. They deploy countermeasures. Chaff and flares burst from dispensers, creating false targets, buying precious seconds. But the enemy missile is sophisticated. It has infrared seekers, radar guidance, algorithms designed to distinguish decoys from real targets. It adjusts its trajectory, continuing pursuit. The pilot pushes the aircraft to its limits. They dive, exploiting gravity and speed, then pull back hard, climbing vertically, trying to force the missile to burn through its fuel. The jet groans under the stress. Metal flexes, systems strain, but it holds. Meanwhile, the pilot is already planning the counter-strike. Because defense alone doesn't win engagements, they toggle to their own weapon system. The heads-up display shows firing solutions, constantly updating as the geometry of the battle shifts. Distance, closure rate, angle, everything matters. Launch too soon and the missile runs out of energy before impact. Launch too late and you become the target. The enemy pilot is doing the same calculations. 2 minds, trained by different nations but operating under the same physics, racing toward the same conclusion. Only one aircraft is leaving this airspace. The targeting computer chirps. Lock achieved. The pilot's finger hovers over the trigger. They verify the target one final time. No friendlies in the area. No civilian aircraft. Just the enemy, exactly where they're supposed to be. The decision takes a fraction of a second, but it feels eternal. When the missile launches, there is no celebration, no emotion, just confirmation. Target hit. The enemy aircraft erupts in a flash visible for kilometers. Debris scatters across the sky, tumbling toward Earth in burning pieces. Inside, another pilot, someone's son, someone's father, someone who laughed over breakfast that morning, is gone in an instant. But there's no time to process it, because modern aerial warfare rarely involves single engagements. As soon as one threat is neutralized, another appears. Enemy reinforcements are inbound. Ground-based air defenses are tracking. Every second in hostile airspace increases the probability of death. The pilot checks fuel, checks weapons remaining, checks system status. Red lights indicate battle damage. The enemy got closer than they thought. Hydraulic pressure is dropping. Engine temperature is climbing. The aircraft is wounded but still flying. Now comes the most dangerous part, getting home. The flight back is not a victory lap. It's a tense calculation of distance versus fuel, of damaged systems versus mission requirements. The pilot contacts their controller, provides a brief report using standardized codes that reveal nothing to listening enemies. They're directed to a tanker aircraft for emergency refueling. The rendezvous happens at altitude. 2 aircraft joining in formation while traveling hundreds of kilometers per hour. The tanker extends its refueling boom. The pilot, exhausted, hands trembling from adrenaline dump, must fly with surgical precision, maneuvering their wounded aircraft into position mere meters behind another plane. One mistake and both aircraft could collide. The boom connects. Fuel flows. Minutes feel like hours. Finally, the pilot disconnects and continues toward base. The coastline appears. Friendly territory. But the mission isn't over until the aircraft is on the ground. Approach is complicated by the battle damage. Landing gear might not deploy properly. Flight controls might fail. The pilot runs through emergency procedures, preparing for multiple contingencies. Tower is alerted. Fire crews stand ready. The descent begins. Altitude decreases in measured increments. The pilot maintains constant communication with the tower, reporting status, receiving instructions. Other aircraft are cleared from the pattern. The runway is isolated, reserved for this emergency landing at 2,000 feet. The landing gear deploys. The pilot holds their breath. 3 green lights illuminate. All wheels down and locked. One less problem to manage. At 1,000 feet, the aircraft is configured for landing. Flaps extended. Speed reduced. Everything by the book. Despite the damaged system screaming warnings. At 500 feet, the runway fills the windscreen. Concrete stretches ahead, marked with numbers and lines that represent safety. Home. Survival. At 50 feet, the pilot begins the flare, raising the nose slightly, bleeding off speed. Preparing for touchdown. The wheels kiss the runway. A slight bounce, then solid contact. The drag chute deploys, yanking the aircraft backward, helping damaged brakes slow the machine. Fire trucks race alongside, ready for anything, when the jets finally return to base. Landing on familiar ground, the war in the sky ends quietly. The aircraft rolls to a stop. Fire crews inspect for damage, for leaks, for any sign of immediate danger. The pilot shuts down systems one by one, following the checklist even now, especially now, because discipline doesn't end when the danger passes. They climb out of the cockpit on shaking legs. Ground crew help them down. Someone hands them water. No crowds, no applause, just silence, and the knowledge that somewhere beyond the clouds, another nation is preparing its next response, because when the nations clash in the sky, the battle may last minutes, but its consequences echo for generations. That night, the pilot sits in the debriefing room, reviewing gun camera footage, radar recordings, every detail of the engagement. Intelligence officers ask questions. Commanders evaluate decisions. Engineers examine the damaged aircraft to understand what worked, what failed, what needs improvement. The pilot answers in monotone, professional, detached. But inside, something has shifted. They've crossed a threshold that can never be uncrossed. They've taken a life. They've nearly lost their own later, alone in their quarters. The pilot lies awake. The adrenaline has worn off. The shaking has stopped. But sleep won't come. Every time they close their eyes, they see the explosion. They hear the warning tones. They feel the G-forces crushing them. They think about the enemy pilot. Were they scared? Did they have time to eject? Did they see the missile coming? These questions have no answers, and asking them serves no purpose. Tomorrow, there will be another briefing, another mission, another chance to die at altitude where the air is thin and mistakes are final, the pilot rolls over, staring at the ceiling. Outside, mechanics work through the night, repairing battle damage, loading fresh weapons, preparing aircraft for the next sortie. The machine never stops. The war never sleeps. And somewhere, in another country, another pilot is staring at another ceiling, thinking the same thoughts, carrying the same burden, preparing for the same deadly dance in the sky. Because this is the reality of aerial combat in the modern age. It's not glory. It's not adventure. It's mathematics and physics and split-second decisions. It's young people trained to kill other young people with surgical precision. At Professional Detachment Dot, it's war at its most technological and most human dot in tomorrow. When the sun rises and the briefings begin and the jets thunder down runways in the hostile skies, it will all happen again because the sky remembers everything and nations never forget.